Hi, everyone. I hope you've had a very good week. Today, I'm here with a very, very exciting person. I'm here with Pedro Lopez Belmonte. I know I keep saying his name wrong. I'm Edna Nzombe. I'm the owner and founder of Horological Atelier for the Digital Product Passport and Provenance for Time Vault on www.assetprovenance.com. Today, the topic of our discussion is going to take us through very many different places, and it is called From Showroom to the Living Room, the Digital Boutique on Demand with Pedro Lopez Belmonte. I am going to give Pedro the opportunity to introduce himself.
Well, thank you, Edna. You said my name very well, perfectly pronounced. So yes, I'm Pedro. I'm Chief Product Officer for Versailles, the first voice concierge and clienteling platform for online premium and luxury retail. I've spent the last 12 years before joining Versailles working for Richemont Group, leading technology innovation and helping some of their iconic brands with the adoption of emerging technology, with a special focus, not limited, but a special focus on client-facing applications.
Oh, fantastic. That sounds really good. So you've had quite a lot of experience within this industry, which is really, really good because then that means that you get to teach us and our listeners a lot of things that are going to happen. So for the first product, before a lot of people were actually talking about digital product passports, you're already working on those. And Tell us a little bit more about DPPs, especially at Richemont. You don't have to tell us exactly what was happening at Richemont, but what was the thinking around getting there in 2018?
Yes, so we started in 2018, and we started because the group wanted to find a solution for counterfeits. There is this report, I think, by Deloitte in 2018 about the volume of fake high-end watch having a higher volume than the actual legitimate production of legitimate brands, right? So counterfeits in watchmaking are a huge problem, and it impacts, of course, clients that are mainly purchasing pieces on the secondary market, pre-owned. But as a consequence, it erodes brand reputation and brand equity. So the initial motivation was that, but then we saw a lot of possibilities. During that time, we did a lot of experimentation. We launched the first high-end watch digital product passport back in 2019 with Vacheron Constantin. We were naming them back then as digital certificates because it was like a digitized version of the paper-based certificate of authenticity, right?
Yeah.
And from then on, we did a lot of explorations around, of course, authenticity, provenance, product information, and then post-sale services, loyalty, and so on. And as a consequence, fast forward, the group we managed for the group to put in place a very solid architecture and systems that enable 6 of the watchmaking brands of the group to put all their production into DPPs. So as of today, 6 watchmakers for Richemont Group are issuing all their products with a companion DPP that clients can use to get the digital ownership, to access to data, maybe to access to some services, that depends on the brand, and to essentially also get in touch with the brand and get some information, extended information about their pieces, like user manuals, care instructions, etc.
All right, that's very fantastic and interesting, really. That, I mean, Richmond is a big group, so they would have done a lot of research, and individuals like yourselves would have done quite a lot of work around that. And the idea of thinking that possibly the volume of counterfeits can be larger than the volume of certain watches made by the actual brand is really quite scary, because not only does it dilute the brand's name, it also, in essence, steals some commercial value from those products. But that can be debated to say that, oh, the market is absolutely open for everybody, but not for counterfeits. um we talk about some of the work that you do at Versailles. I hope I'm saying that wrong.
Yeah.
And you talk about a digital boutique, the service that sort of you provide. Tell us a little bit more about that.
So the concept of a digital boutique is to bring the physical experience to the digital one. If you think, and it falls on the scope of what is being called agentic commerce, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you think about the experience today, and we put it in the perspective of the customer journey, uh, there are a lot of there are multiple channels for this, for product discovery, right?
Yeah.
With very dynamic, high impact social networks, video, live shopping, and of course you have as well agents. You can search through agents now, right? When after you have discovered your products, when you go to the brand website, because you want to go deeper into those products that you have narrowed the search and you are interested into, the experience just fall.
Yeah.
It's flat,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we have taken this concept of agentic commerce,
Mm-hmm.
which is agentic commerce in itself is a great improvement from previous experience, right?
Yeah.
As I said, you have many ways to discover products.
Yeah.
Before, a very autonomous way, especially when we had the intention to look for something, was search engines. And search engines are very limited. Agentic commerce is a way to use shopping, to use agents to shop online, to research and discover products, right? So instead of a limited search, for example, I'm looking for a specific watch, or I'm looking
Mhm.
for a waterproof tent because I'm going to
Yeah.
go on an excursion. I live in Switzerland, so maybe this weekend I'll go for a hiking, right?
Yeah.
The search is very limited. The results are very limited. I
Yeah.
can do the search in using natural language. I'm going
Yes.
for a hiking in the Alps next Sunday, and it might rain, and I need a tent that won't weigh down my pack too much, and it needs to be waterproof. What are my best options under $300 or Swiss francs, right? So this delivers many advantages when we use
Mm-hmm.
these agents, ChatGPT, Gemini, and so on. So it's conversational versus keyword driven. It's multi-step reasoning. So the agent is going to take all the context, not only the keywords, right? It's
Yeah.
also goal-oriented. The agent is going to understand what I'm looking for. It has continuous context and memory. With a search
Yeah.
engine, each search is a new search, right? Not with the agent. And then, also very important, it shields us from the choice paralysis. When you have a big list of results, what
Yeah.
do? Usually that gets in the way, right?
Mhm.
So agentic commerce means that the machine adapt to us instead of us adapting to the machine. And that's the premise that we have taken for Versailles. We have taken the concept of the agent and we have built it for the brand to create a new experience in their online store, a new experience digital, but it's actually inspired on the physical. When you go today to a brand boutique, to a brand digital boutique,
Mhm.
it's actually a shoppable product catalog,
Yes.
right? Try to go to a premium brand with a big catalog of products and look for a jumper, and you will get 80 to 100 results. How can you search efficiently there? What's actually that kind of experience? There's no experience there. It's very transactional. If you go to the same brand, to a physical boutique, you are not going to see there the products group by type. They don't put all the jumpers together and on the trousers and the t-shirts and the pants and whatever, right? They organize it by outfit, by collection. There's a lot of science into physical retail, but they narrow down the search visually, so you can understand and process more, and you can get more inspired, and they make it easier for clients. So that's the experience that we want to enable online, right? Which is a mix. It's a multimodal experience, visually and also driven by voice. The experience is basically we enable clients of our brands as clients to speak with the brand.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Understanding that from an agentic commerce perspective, and I know it's a weird segue that I came from asking DPPs and asking about that, but there's a very good reason, because in my head, DPPs were not only there to countering fakes, but they were also there, or the digital certificates to counter fakes as much as possible, but to also try bring in the engagement with the customer. So a piece of paper is difficult to engage with. You have to physically hold it. But if it's a little bit digital, you have a higher chances nowadays with mobile phones to be able to engage with the product beyond the physical asset. So you look at now some other products like 4 hours, our time for products, we try to engage people post the one-time scan. So I will bring in the agentic commerce and the digital passport conversation together by saying that there tends to be like a second scan problem. So the same thing when we go to a website, and like you come to our website like Bovaro website or Clevio website, you're looking for a watch. Our platform is not smart. Currently, it is very basic. We'll list the watches that we have. You're going to have to find everything on your own. I see that's where things like obviously agentic commerce comes in, because if you put in smart wording, it's able to give you the best options. If you're on a website where there are fewer items for sale, it's easier to access, but that service element is sort of missing from most of the commercial websites, and for a very good reason, because they are effectively catalogs with a branding of that company, the engagement. So tell us a little bit more on if you think that there's ever going to be a better relationship with agentic commerce and having a digital passport. Do you think it'll be able to help customers understand more about the brand if you're watching from home, if you're purchasing from home? So I'm Edna, was unable to go to a boutique and experience a brand. Tell us a little bit more how that's going, if there's going to be any improvements, if you see any improvements in that area.
Well, yes. So if you experience our product, you are very quickly going to see that's going to help you, because it enables you to have an actual conversation, exactly the same that you and I are having right now, but from the comfort of your couch at home. At the end of the day, having a nice glass of wine or whatever you want, a cup of tea, whatever you want to have, right? But with new solutions come also new problems and new challenges.
Yes.
One of them, and I'm going to repeat what everyone is saying, but for a good reason. You can have the best agent technology, the best underlying LLM. The experience is going to be as good as the underlying data.
Yes.
If you go today right now to Gemini, to ChatGPT, whatever generic agent, and you look, for example, I did that during Christmas. I just did an experiment, and I used different agents, and I looked for a wool 100% wool coat for women. Right.
Yeah.
If you do that search or whatever other that you are thinking, the agents will narrow down, present a set of products that matches initially your requirements. And each one of them will present a disclaimer saying, please check into the retailer website, as there might be some inconsistencies in the results. And when you go to the retailer website, most of the results are matching your criteria only partially.
Yes.
Because the data is incomplete. not accurate. The descriptions are not correct, even sometimes very short, inexistent. If you are able to find the same product from the same brand in different websites, in the brand website and then in multi-retailers, because that's the brand strategy, you will see even inconsistencies across the same product in different retailers, right? The reason for this is that the system that manages all the product information for online purposes, which is usually called PIM, they have different names, but the product information management system holds information that is not accurate, is marketing copy, is not accurate, in many cases is incomplete. In most of the cases, the product descriptions are being written by interns, because it's not so fun write descriptions, right? Maybe that's something that AI can help too. But you are going to find a lot of inconsistencies. And when that happens, that also erodes the trust of the customer. With the DPPs, and now I'm going to make the reference from the regulatory perspective, from the EU ESPR regulation. The DPPs are actually a commitment from the brand with the public, with society, around the product data. The product data becomes a source of truth, because if what the brand is going to include in the DPP is not accurate or is even wrong, they face backslash, they face fines, and even being excluded from the market by the consumers or the regulators. So I see the DPP as a solution for that, and as a source of truth for agents, a source of truth for agentic commerce, both the brand agent and the generic agents.
Oh yeah, definitely. It is also the sort of line of thinking I was having. I was like, it has to be a line of truth, especially if you go on Google or on any agent where you search for a quote or for a watch. You need to be able to at least pick up that, this is the actual information, where it was made, what material, whatever has come through. Because again, that's where you fall for something is £100 cheaper than the other, but you're buying a fake just because it's £100 cheaper, because all these marketing scams are doing, things like that. So it is really quite important. Now, I want to bring back the conversation to how people now think about digital passports in terms of the face scan. It's easier when you're in a store or when you buy your watch or your jewelry and you receive your certificate right now of information. There's normally the concept that people tend not to come back and relook at that information. Now, do you have any thoughts around that? Because we do have some thoughts around this, but I want to hear what you think. You have a lot more experience around that. So tell us what you think about people engaging with the information on their certificates or their DPP. I know within the DPP space, we're sort of like earlier on, but the fashion industry has been doing this for longer with like QR codes and so on garments.
Well, the point is that we need to abstract sometimes from the tools that we are using and go back to the problem. Why are we doing what we do?
Yes.
Right. And I prefer to look from the client perspective rather than the brands. Right. The brands are, but when you are working 24/7 in a problem, you get so caught on it that sometimes it's very difficult to look at the same problem from different perspectives. But as a client, what's in it for me in a DPP? Let's go back a few years, right?
Yes.
A few decades, right? No digital technologies. First of all, any kind of documentation around the product was reserved for high-end products, right?
Yes.
Valuable products. So that tells us something. That tells us that the way we are going to approach these kind of elements is going to be different based on the type of product and the type of product category that we are moving on, right? That we are working with. Second, I think most of us, we have bought at some point something that was coming with a paper-based certificate.
Yes.
What did we do with that certificate?
You filed it away in the house in a box?
Exactly. I didn't frame it in my office or in my living room, and I'm coming back every day saying, "Wow, what's a nice
Look at my
paper-based DPP, right?"
certificate.
With digital product passport, is exactly the same. Exactly the same. So that's why the first scan. There's been a lot of effort to improve the first scan rate, and I think if when now we have all the elements to understand what's necessary,
Mm-hmm.
what the brand needs to put in place in order to guarantee a high rate in terms of first scan, first DPP scan, right? But the second and further times is a
Yeah.
matter of value,
Yes.
because the DPP isn't digital representation of the product, right? It's a digital twin.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want as a client, what I want to do is actually enjoying the product,
Yes.
right? I want to wear my watch or to wear my shirt or to, whatever, wear or use whatever product. That's the whole purpose of purchasing that product. It's not to have
Yes.
a DPP to look at, it's to enjoy the product, right? So the
Yes.
DPP as a client needs to give me some additional value,
Mm-hmm.
right? Otherwise, I'm not going to open it. And the numbers are there.
Yeah.
You go. I don't know any single brand that has claimed that the second scan rate is higher than 20%. I would say that the average is around 10%. Right? So that gives you the clue of what's going on.
Yeah.
And if we think about the context of the client, I think that's what we need to look at, the context of the client. You were mentioning before, with smartphones, it's very easy. Well, it's very easy, and at the same time, it's
It's
not
very
very
difficult.
easy
Yes.
for two reasons. Think about how many apps you have downloaded
Mm.
in your smartphone since you got it, and how many are you using regularly? A fraction of them, probably less than 10%,
Yes.
right? Another point, I don't remember, so I'm going to throw a few names, and I'm happy to
That's fine.
provide the links later. But according to one of these research consultancy, probably Gartner or McKinsey, or I don't know which one, I
Yeah.
don't remember right now. Um, Customers in Europe and in US,
Yes.
the average customer deals with 200 different brands per year,
Oh, that's a
and
lot.
buys from around 50, right?
Oh,
So let's put ourselves January 2027
yes.
and fast forward December 2027.
Yes.
In December 2027, we will have 50 different DPPs from
Yes.
50 different brands.
Yes.
How are we going to deal with that? I will leave that question there, right?
That is
How
a
are we
very
going to
big
deal with that?
question. I have a comment on the statement that you said, yes, on the number of apps and the second scan. That is a very real concern. And for ourselves, like I have built Time Vault, which is sort of like starting to, market it for users. So our aim is to target every user base. So from brands, from insurers to collectors to resellers and auction houses. So from the brand's perspective, it's a no-brainer in a sense, or from resellers because they have the physical asset they sell you. So you buy a watch and you're given a certificate with the watch that goes on. And then from the downstream of that, the users are able to engage within the platform with the product. So with TimeVault, what we're looking to do currently as the product stands, it stands from we create a certificate for you, we manage provenance from you, but retrospectively, we are going to go back and add in modules that allow us to get information about how that watch was made, so to make it a full DPP. But back to where we're currently at, where the product sits, we're looking to ensure that we just don't have the first scan where you have your new watch, it has a certificate, and then that's it. Or the next time you come back, it's because you're transferring ownership because you've sold the asset, or you're gifting it to somebody else. We are trying to engage customers as much as possible within the platform because we record the invoice price. That is the price of the receipt that you paid that item for today. The watch was 5,000, so we record the 5,000. We are going to be pulling information from recognized sources that allow you to sort of track current value, whether it's on the second hand market, because we do acknowledge that that's a big market. So by looking at the invoice price and the market price, and having certain engagement activities like trust scoring, where you're able to get scoring on insurance, on service, on any other activities, not for penalty but as a means of engaging. But we do understand that those are milestone activities, because how often are you really servicing your watch? It's a very valid question. How often are you transferring ownership? How often are you looking at the price? But we're looking at it from a asset management perspective. Is this going to be the actual solution to that? Not necessarily, because the end user, like you mentioned, I need a reason to be there, and there's going to be a lot of engagement required from brands such as ourselves. But the idea and thinking around the product for us is that we are brand agnostic. So hoping from a brand agnostic perspective, we're going to be able to provide enough data and analytics to our corporate brands and to our collector users. So hoping that way the engagement, the second scan of coming back within the documents may become more. But that's, again, I do not have statistics for you right now because we're still really at the beginning. But that question the point that you raised is a genuine one. I would like to take us to the next to the point that you say that there's going to be 50 DPP providers. And that's a good thing and also an absolutely terrible thing, because which one is the real truth when it comes to the product? Are we going to have one DPP for watches, for jewelry, for clothes, for infrastructure, for whatever? We're going to have many. So in according to you, based on the experience that you have and the knowledge that you have in this space, what makes a good DPP? What do you think makes
Right.
it?
Well, I would say different elements. So first of all is product data, right?
Yes.
And that's probably a bit independent from the actual technology, right? And then a good experience,
Mm-hmm.
right? And as a third pillar, I would say standards,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when I started to work on DPPs, they were not even called DPPs. And
Yes.
actually, I wrote a concept project, right, called Digital Passport for watches early in
Yes.
2018. But so that was the line of thinking, and I think it was going in the right direction. Uh, but there were no standards, and
Yes.
suddenly the market is starting to have some noise, different actors trying to build or claiming they were going to build the standards,
Mm-hmm.
but not many, in my opinion, actually knowing what standard is and
Yes.
means, right? Fast forward today, we have standards. The European Union is publishing standards. I think that's the best way, because that's what the standard is just a way to do things in a similar way,
Yes.
right? With a similar way, with a similar format, structure, so different systems can communicate between each other.
Yeah.
If we look at the DPP as just a compliance thing from the brand, just to be compliant with the regulation, that falls too short. The DPP, in my opinion, is an ecosystem enabler, right?
Yes.
And as I was saying before, let's abstract ourselves for a moment from the technology,
Yes.
right? And let's think, what's the relationship between a client and a brand? The relationship between the client and a brand is experiential. It's experiential. Sorry, it's
Mm-hmm.
emotional, but it's always through the product. And here, the product might be a physical product or might be a service
Yes.
experience, right? But it's through something, through what the value that the brands are delivering, right? The DPP is the digital representation of that, right? But
Mm.
it's a digital connection between the brand and the client,
Yeah.
and it as opposed to the paper-based certificate, it helps the brand to orchestrate many things. It's an ecosystem enabler.
Yes.
It helps third parties to transact officially around that product or service with the client, but it helps the brand as well. It allows the brand to be part of that interaction if they want, or even just to look at and learn. It's the first time that brands have a meaningful way to learn about how their products are being used truthfully and with a very a great depth of data and information, right? So if we look at the DPP from that perspective, I think there are a lot of possibilities that opens up, and the brand can do many things, but one thing that they need to do is to commit with that. When I say commit, is because another point, interesting point through my experience, is that I've worked with different brands.
Yes.
And on their DPPs and so on. And on each brand, the topic was always driven by a different team. In one brand, it was the digital team. Another brand was the operations team. Another brand was the product team. Another brand was the sustainability team. Yeah. So you end up thinking, okay, but so who should be the responsible of the DPP? And actually, the conclusion, at least mine, is that the DPP is so transversal that in order to get the most out of it, brands need to rethink how they are organized and how they approach this, because the DPP is going to touch a lot of verticals, a lot of function in the brand. Pre-sales, supply chain, manufacturing, product sourcing, logistic, and post-sales, right? Yes. So the sales team, the customer service, and the ecosystem partners, whether there is a direct agreement with the brand or not. But for me, that's the potential of the DPPs, to really provide the brand a new way to orchestrate the relationship with the product and the client. Yes, a lot more efficient and with a lot more precision in the data that they are collecting and how they operate in many different ways.
Yeah, definitely. That makes a lot of sense because a business has many departments and they all have accountability and responsibility to the data and the input to provide the service with the DPP. And even for the user ourselves, we are in well, not just we users are an ecosystem, because there are many requirements they're going to want to touch and understand. But I mean, the topic of DPPs would really go long and keep circling many places. And it's just one of those things that it's one of those topics that we should just not take lightly. Personally, I feel like there's a lot to say. So I will stop the conversation on DPP now and ask you a little bit more about, just to close the conversation, and hoping we are going to have another discussion soon, because there is a lot we can learn from there. In terms of agentic commerce, just what is one thing you want the listeners to know or to think about? Because you have people who are quite apprehensive in using AI solutions and so on. What is the one thing you want to say to brands, and what is the one thing you want to say to end users when it comes to that service?
I think that's a good question. I think there's a lot of, as you say, apprehension towards AI. That's one side of the audience, let's call it like that, and there's another group of people that are completely the opposite, that are all the way in. What I would say, and then on top of that, especially on branding, on the industry, there is this narrative, which is, yes, let's use AI for optimization, for automating things. Let's not use it for experience. Experience must remain human. Well, I agree. I'm the first one that like I like to go physically to the store. I like to go. I like to now I work from home, but I like to go to the office.
Yeah.
Right now, I work from home because we are a decentralized team, but that's a different experience. But
Mm-hmm.
I like the human touch, and I don't want to lose the human touch. I don't like to send messages. I prefer to call someone and to speak and be present, have a coffee or whatever. But while I'm very oriented to that, at the same time, I think AI help, can be very dangerous to over optimize
Mm-hmm.
using AI,
Yeah.
because the AI is based on data. We all have
Yeah.
the same data. Data is finite. We have a huge amounts of data, but data is
Yes.
finite, right? And if everyone uses AI to optimize in the same direction, it's going to happen the same that happened with e-commerce.
Yes.
If you look at the e-commerce websites from brands 15 years ago, when they were using different technologies, Flash and so on, they were very dynamic. They were, each brand had a different image. A brand had a different look and feel, and so on. And then e-commerce have been over optimizing, right? Have been looking at what was working better, uh, understandably. But the result
Yeah.
is that today, most of the digital stores are exactly the same. White background because it's better visually,
Mm-hmm.
similar product listing pages, same product detail pages, because that's what it works. And I fully agree. I'm not contesting that. What I'm saying is that the experience is there's no experience. The experience is the same. It's a shoppable
Yes.
catalog, and if you go and take 5 or 6 screenshots from 5 or 6 different brands, and even across different categories, some of them luxury, premium, mass market,
Yes.
and you put it in a collage together with perspective, you zoom out and you even remove the logos to avoid identifying the brands, so that you won't be
Yeah.
able to tell
The
which
difference.
which side belongs to each brand. I've done the experiment, right? So you won't be able to do it. And that's the result of over optimizing.
Yeah.
The experience has been removed from digital. You go to a digital store from your favorite brand, there's no experience. It's completely disconnected from the actual brand experience on the physical boutiques, right? So on the using AI, we face the same risk, in my opinion. But at the same time, we have the opportunity uh, to enhance the experience,
Yeah.
right? As I was saying at the beginning, agentic commerce using ChatGPT or Gemini or any other engine to look for products
Yeah.
allow us to use natural language. The machine is adapting to our ways instead of us adapting to the machine as it was happening before. And that's experience, and that's super important. So if I'm able to go to a brand's website and instead of using a keywords-based search and these rigid filters, I'm able to speak with the website, that's already a huge leap forward in terms of the experience, and that gives also space for the brand to rethink their whole concept of website. So what I would say is that to both, I would say to one category of people, which is all the way in, okay, let's think twice and let's apply a bit of criteria. Let's think, why are we doing whatever we are doing
Yeah.
and how we want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And to those that are a bit more apprehensive, just give it a try. Be open. I'm not saying that we need to use AI for everything, but it can bring some benefits. It's just another tool. So as any other tool, right? It depends on how it's being used.
Yeah, that's definitely fantastic. Thank you so much for giving us those sort of insights. And it gives us as a company, as a business, as a service provider, something to really think about why we're doing this and what the experience the customer may face and how we can also get the customer to engage with this quite critical. But I am looking forward to having another chat with you, at some other time, and we can delve on either one of the topic, whether it's agentic commerce or one specific areas of DVPs. But it was such a pleasure speaking to you, Pedro, and I hope that we speak again soon.
Thank you very much, Edna, for having me. It's been my pleasure. It's been fun, and I look forward to the next time.
Fantastic. All right.